My older sister is bound to a system where the more she slacks off, the luckier she gets, but I'm bound to a system where the harder I try, the more unfortunate I become. So she spends all her time doing nothing, yet she's a beautiful and academically gifted girl everyone loves. Meanwhile, I study until late at night, but I'm still a fat and clumsy underachiever. My sister says I exist only to highlight her. But 3 months before the college entrance exam, the system malfunctioned. Everyone says Fu Ryue, and I don't seem like sisters. She's beautiful and smart, excelling in everything from music and art to calligraphy and painting, always ranking first in her grade, the pride of our parents. I, on the other hand, am the complete opposite, fat, stupid, and bad at everything. When my parents look at me, their eyes are always filled with disappointment. They wish their younger sister could be half as good as her older sister. Whenever this happens, Fu Ryue always stops them. My parents then walked up to me and gently encouraged me, saying, "Ruxin, as long as you work hard, you can definitely be as excellent as me." When they said this, their eyes always held a knowing smile. Actually, I also felt that as long as I worked hard enough, I could narrow the gap with my sister. So, to improve my studies, I always studied until late at night. To improve my appearance, I ran and jumped rope every day after school, eating only a little for dinner. But nothing worked. My grades remained at the bottom of the class, and I got fatter and fatter. My parents, who used to dote on me, started looking at me with extreme disappointment. Ruxing really can't do anything right. If only Ryue had been born, things would be different now. That must have been so stressful for my sister. Every holiday, my parents would buy gifts, but only for her. I was so young then, and I'd always foolishly tug at my dad's sleeve, asking, "Dad, what about mine? Have you forgotten me?" My dad would pull his hand away, annoyed, and say, "This is a reward for Ryue's excellence. She got first place and won a big prize. What about you?" When I had a high fever, my parents left me alone at home to attend my sister's parent-teacher conference. Actually, the conference wasn't important, but they liked it. As Fu Ryue's parent, they constantly received praise, and my friends started to dislike me. No matter how hard I tried to win them back, they would always abandon me without hesitation to go find Fu Ryue. Only Fu Ryue remained in the world. He's always been so good to me. He's always there for me when I feel deeply defeated and want to give up, encouraging me wholeheartedly. "Maybe you're not trying hard enough," he'll say gently. "Maybe your method is wrong. Why don't you try a different approach?" Everyone around us marvels at how kind I am, saying, "You're the only one in the world who wouldn't give up on your sister." Yeah, if I were a born loser like Fu Xing, I would have committed suicide long ago. Let's start over with a new account. "You can't say that to my sister." My sister frowned reproachfully, then took my hand. "Ruxing, promise me, never give up trying. Understand?" I nodded vigorously. My sister smiled. I always thought my sister's smile was beautiful until I learned that secret. It was a peaceful night during my senior year of high school when I learned that my sister had been bound to a system. I hid on the balcony and overheard her conversation with the system. "That idiot Fu Ruxing is still studying until the early hours. She'll be last in the exam again." It's hilarious. Thinking back, my parents really chose good names. My name is Ryue, meaning like the moon, and his is Ruxing, meaning like the star. Stars exist to highlight the moon. Thank you, system. Thank you for your 12 years of companionship. It was like a thunderclap exploding in my head. I suddenly remembered many things from the past. 12 years ago, Fu Ryue and I were 6 years old. Back then, I was beautiful and smart. After learning to sing and dance in preschool, I even helped the teacher clean up after class. Fu Ryue was lazy. He had no interest in singing and found dancing too difficult to practice, so he learned nothing. When entertaining guests at home, everyone would fawn over me, asking me to perform, praising my cuteness and charm, and telling Fu Ryue, who stood to the side, unable to do anything, "Little sister is so great, older sister has to work harder." Perhaps it was at that moment that Fu Ryue began to hate the word effort. When the system appeared, she decisively chose to let herself go and become luckier, while I chose to work harder and become more unfortunate. Thus, in the long 12 years that followed, as he wished, the gap between us gradually widened. He put in no effort, yet things got better and better. I tried my best, yet things got worse and worse. That night, upon learning this, after the secret, I left silently. I sat for 3 hours in the biting cold, wearing only a thin shirt, my body stiff with cold. All I could think of was my sister's smile, encouraging me from childhood. As a child, I never knew what that something in her eyes when she smiled was called. Now I know it's called malice. My most trusted sister, the sister who always told me not to give up, only wanted me to burn my blood and tears to achieve her glorious life. She is the protagonist of this world, and my role is to forever stand in the shadows, a backdrop to highlight her. But I refuse. I must change my destiny with a desperate determination. I think. After taking the exam, I went to the school's broadcasting station. I pressed the switch on the megaphone and silently began calling the system. The system didn't answer. After all, it was my sister's system, not mine. But I knew that since it was a power beyond this world, it could definitely detect my thoughts. Calling system, it's okay if you don't buy me. See the megaphone in my hand? Your existence should be kept secret, right? If you don't buy me within 60 seconds, I will broadcast your existence repeatedly and post it on all social media platforms. I will also write to the Scientific Research Institute and have them take Fu Ryue, who carries the system, for biopsy research. I'd only counted to 50 when a crackling sound filled my head. Then a weak voice said, "Don't do this. They won't believe you. How will you know what you want if you don't try? Switching my system with your sisters? That won't work. My functions are set up and can't be changed." I reached for the megaphone. Oh my god, the system wailed. How about I do nothing? Do nothing. Although the functions can't be changed, they can be disabled. I thought for a moment. In other words, from today onwards, the harder I work, the luckier I get. The more my sister slacks off, the more unfortunate she becomes. After a moment's hesitation, I'll add one more thing, keeping it a secret from my sister, so she'll think the world is still operating the way she wants. The next day, I arrived at school early as usual. To maintain my fitness, I run 2 laps every morning. While jogging along the track, I saw Fu Ryue with 2 friends, eating breakfast in the stands. "Xiaoya, your sister's running again. Look at that fatso, her flesh is jiggling when she runs," Fu Ryue said casually. "My sister has a constitution that's hard to lose weight with." His 2 friends echoed him, both amused and envious. "Oh, I'm so envious of Xiaoya. She's always eating chocolate and potato chips and doesn't do any exercise. Yet she has a big bust, a slim waist, long legs, and even abs. It must be a genetic lottery. She's naturally thin. Why don't you have that gene? No matter how much you run, you'll never lose weight." I ignored their gossip and kept running. From today onwards, my running will no longer be useless. Unlike before, when I only felt tired no matter how long I ran, this time I could feel the heat and sweat on my forehead. Calories were being burned, fat was being burned. I will lose weight. After my run, I grabbed my backpack and headed to the classroom. As if remembering something, I turned around and looked at Fu Ryue, who was leisurely strolling on the bleachers. "Sister, don't be late for class." There was a 2-second silence on the bleachers, then a burst of laughter erupted. "Xiaoya, your sister's nagging you to go to class. Even the head teacher doesn't care, but she does. Get lost, you stupid slacker. You wouldn't understand the world of academic geniuses." Indeed, all the teachers at our school turned a blind eye to Fu Ryue's skipping classes. The reason was simple. She didn't attend, didn't do her homework, and didn't study, but every time there was a major exam, she invariably achieved the top score in the city. But she wouldn't be so lucky anymore. I shrugged. I went to the classroom. I almost couldn't wait to start the first class. It felt so good to have knowledge entering my brain. I studied voraciously and planned to go home and continue doing practice problems. On the way, I ran into my sister and the school heartthrob, Gu Jiaxiu, arguing. Gu Jiaxiu's luxury car was parked nearby. It looked like he was inviting my sister to a party. As soon as my sister saw me pass by, she immediately grabbed my hand. "No, I'm going home with my sister." Gu Jiaxiu was furious. He looked at me, Fu Ruxing, and said, "You're the one who wouldn't let Xiaoya go, aren't you? Because of that marriage contract. How many more obstacles are you going to throw at me?" Oh, I almost forgot. This young master of the Gu family, the man Fu Ryue deeply loves, but never reveals, is my fiancé, Wu. When I was 5, I called 120 for Grandpa Gu, who was having a heart attack, saving his life. So Grandpa Gu arranged a marriage between me and his grandson, Gu Jiaxiu. Back then, Gu Jiaxiu was always very kind to me. He would shield me from other children's bullying, and he would carry me on his back when I hurt my leg. Even when other children laughed at him for carrying his wife like Pigsy, he wouldn't get angry and would share his snacks and toys with them. I solemnly declared that we'd be husband and wife, and what's mine is yours. Later, Gu Jiaxiu went abroad and didn't return until high school. The day I learned he'd transferred to our school, I excitedly ran out to greet him. That day, Gu Jiaxiu was surrounded by many people. As soon as they saw me, they started teasing him, saying, "Young Master Gu, your fiancé is here." In the past, Gu Jiaxiu would laugh along with everyone during these joking moments, but this time his expression was as cold as ice. He only glanced at me before turning away in disgust and shutting up. I wasn't familiar with him. That day after school, I locked myself in my room and cried for a long time. My sister seemed to sense my sadness and immediately ran over to comfort me. "No one dislikes someone who's always been good to them," she said, her voice seductive. "As long as you consistently show kindness to Gu Jiaxiu, he'll definitely be good to you in return." At that moment, I believed her. So, when Gu Jiaxiu injured himself playing basketball, I went to bring him medicine. What happened next was that Gu Jiaxiu, in front of everyone, poured an entire bottle of mercurochrome over me. Looking at me, soaking wet, a wicked smile played on his lips. "The thing I hate most in this life is a simp," he said. "Fu Ruxing, don't make me feel disgusted by you.